All right, well, it's 10:10, so I think we're going to go ahead and kick it off unless somebody tells us not to or it's not working. But guys, welcome. Thanks for joining this session with us. We are both newbies at this, but please jump in, ask any questions in the Q&A. We do have a moderator that can help with that. We will have a poll at some point, so just kind of keep an eye over on that side tab. But today we're just going to talk about landing your first or second job, kind of getting this ball started on actually getting in front of a company, a manager, speaking about yourself, and just some of the do's and don'ts of interviewing well. And hopefully, some of these tips and things we'll go over can be applied to any career, any job. But please ask questions, be open. If this is something you've never done before, we are happy to talk about anything. We've seen it all. We've done it all, the good and the bad. So there's no question that we will not be happy to answer as long as it's, related to our topic. So I'm going to share our presentation and get us going. So first of all, yeah, what's up, Cayman?
Nope, go ahead.
Just wanted to take a moment to introduce ourselves. So who the heck are we? Why are we here? So Cayman and I'll let him introduce himself in a second, but we work together at an IT staffing company. We're actually a global company, so we work with thousands of clients and candidates. Cayman and I are both in Indianapolis, so we're mainly working with different companies and candidates here. I do recruiting. So I had worked in retail, fashion and jewelry stores for about a decade, and just really loved kind of the people aspect of it, interviewing, team building, hiring. So I've been doing recruiting for the past few years, partnering with companies to help them find the people that they need to fill their jobs. Cayman kind of is on the other side of that. I'll let him introduce himself and talk about what he does.
Thank you, Haley, and good morning, everybody. So I've been in sales since graduating college back in 2018. I've been in IT staffing sales for the past 2 years. And so my particular responsibilities are to understand what companies and hiring managers are looking for and what problems they have and how Haley and I together can address their needs. And typically that's through bringing in talented people like yourselves one day in to fill the void on their teams and bring the skill set and intelligence and whatnot that they're looking for. So that being said, Haley and I, we run through these situations weekly and most of the time daily with candidates interviewing with different hiring managers. And so we've, have the opportunity to see these interactions play out nonstop. And we can bring you a little bit of insight of what that looks like in today's presentation. And that's our goal.
All right. So the first thing we just kind of want to go over is setting that stage. So you've been applying to jobs, you've got your resume out there, maybe you're on LinkedIn, you're networking, and you finally got an interview request. So that's kind of when this process starts because first impression is everything. So even just the way that you are responding to them to set up an interview, schedule something, introduce yourself, all of that is part of this experience. One of the things I want to mention, in this day and age, we text people all the time. You might get an interview request or even a recruiter reaching out to you through text message, which is very different than it was a few years ago. It used to be very, very formal. And now it's all just about connecting with people. So I know that I wanted to kind of touch on just keeping it professional all the time. If you're getting that text message from a recruiter, from a manager wanting to schedule an interview, make sure that you are spelling your words out, being professional and polite through that messaging. When it comes to scheduling, especially, I know Cayman can kind of talk about it from the client side. For me, from the candidate side, working with you guys, if somebody's asking you, when can you interview? It's all about giving them options. We need to make the schedule work for you and for the customer, for the hiring team, to make sure that it actually is something that you can commit to and not change at the last minute. We know things happen. But once you commit to and schedule that interview, if you have to go back and change it later, can just kind of leave a bad taste on, is this person really committed? If we bring them onto our team and they're, going to be scheduled for meetings or, to meet or talk to somebody important or have a deadline, are they going to be able to commit to keeping those? So, Cayman, I was hoping you could touch a little bit, on that hiring manager side too, what it looks like from them, what they're looking for when you guys are discussing that scheduling.
Absolutely. And Haley, I think you addressed some great points right out of the gate. And that is that once what's that?
All right. Cayman might be frozen for a second. So I can also say from that hiring manager side, just like we were kind of talking about there, they're really looking for somebody that can stick to what they say.
Hey,
and
Haley.
Last minute scheduling changes, last minute issues. We know real things come up, but that just kind of speaks for your integrity, your maturity, your responsibility of if you commit to something, even if it's just through a text message, you need to stick to it. Hopefully Cayman will be able to join us back here in a moment. So we did want to take a little poll to start this session. I was just kind of wondering, with a lot of you guys, I know maybe you've never interviewed before, maybe you've done one or two. So we wanted to learn a little bit about what makes you maybe a little nervous or apprehensive about doing an interview. So I think the team's going to open up that poll here for you guys, but A, saying or doing the wrong thing, B, feeling or looking unprepared, C, just meeting new people and having to answer questions, D, nothing, you feel totally good, you're ready to go, or E, something not listed, which means, can open up a conversation for us at the end. So I'd love if everybody kind of can take a second and do that. Yeah, so a lot of, all of the above. This is brand new. Totally get it. Oh, and my video is frozen? Oh, no. Okay, watching some of those come through. So sorry about any technical difficulties. Keep us updated in there. Yeah, saying and doing the wrong thing happens all the time. I know Cayman and I can probably speak from our own experiences of saying or doing the wrong thing. It's about recovery, but we're also really going to go through and kind of focus on those top three things and how to make you feel super confident going through. Cayman, I don't know if your tech is working right now, but did you have anything to add on this poll? So somebody says people think I'm younger than I am. Yeah. Sorry for all the freezing. Okay. Let's keep trying this. So thank you guys for your feedback on that. As we go through, we're really going to try to kind of walk you guys through that stuff to figure out, why, how you can prepare for that, how you can feel better about it, and also how you can recover if you feel like you did make a mistake.
Hey, can everybody hear me?
I can hear you now.
Fantastic. I see the messaging. Unfortunately, I have no visual or audio.
Well, we can hear you. So I'll just, can you see the presentation, Cayman? I'll just ask you for your input. All right.
Hey, so I'm going to go ahead and drop out and try re-entering the call.
Sounds good. So sorry for the tech stuff. We're figuring this out. But one of the big things that I wanted to talk about is just preparing for that interview, breaking it down. How can you really go into an interview feeling good and feeling like you know what you need to know to be able to really speak confidently? And we kind of break that down to 4 different areas when we're coaching our candidates. The first thing, research the company a little bit. You don't need to know every single detail of everything they do. They're not looking for you to be a professional at it at all. They want to talk to you about their company. They want to really inform you about everything they do, their goals, their priorities, the technologies that they use, what their team is like. But it's really good for you going into an interview. You know, the first question a lot of managers will ask is, so what do you know about our company? What they're wanting to hear in that is that you've just done a little bit of research, just that you know the basics. You know, so some of those things, having an idea of what they do, approximately how big they are. You know, are they just local here to Indy? Are they all over the country? Are they an international brand? I always like to just, you know, do a simple Google too, see if they've been in the news lately. You know, new innovations, new things that they're doing. You can also, Glassdoor is a great resource. Anytime that you're looking at new jobs, Glassdoor is a really great website. If you haven't used it before, definitely recommend it. You can get some insight on people that have worked there, what they're saying about it, different questions, different things that might come up there. I think Cayman dropped out, guys, so it might just be me now. Maybe he'll come back. So that first part of preparation is just get to know a little bit about the company that you're going to talk to. The second thing is just knowing the role. RIP Cayman. So knowing the role, you're always going to get some sort of job description, whether you're just applying for it on your own or if a recruiter's reached out to you. Make sure that you really ask questions and kind of understand what this position is that you're applying to, because that main part of this interview is selling yourself. It's hard to sell yourself if you don't know what they're looking for. So getting to know the company a little bit, understanding that job description can really help you be like, oh, I see that you're looking for this. You know, you're looking for experience with Microsoft Excel. You're looking for a leader, somebody that wants to grow, somebody that wants to learn. Like, hey, that's me, and here's why. Interviews are really just all about connecting with another person, talking about why you're a good fit for the role, but more than anything, why you want this role. They want to hire somebody that feels excited, that feels confident, that understands what this position would be. It's not all about knowing and being a professional at every single thing on that list, but at least showing them that, hey, I've gone over this list. I think I'm really, really good at these things. Here's the items I would want to learn on. And I would love to hear from you, you know, how you can help me learn that. I think Cayman is back. Can you hear us? The last part of preparing for an interview is thinking about and preparing for the questions that you're going to ask. Asking questions shows that you've thought about it. You've done some research. You've thought about what it's going to be like if you work there.
Hey, Karen.
Asking questions, it's not...
Unfortunately, I'm unable to see the presentation. I have no incoming audio. I rechecked my own laptop here a couple times, and it doesn't seem to be on my side.
Cayman, if you can hear me, if you just want to hang out, and let me know if you can jump back in at all. But yeah, that last thing we just want to talk about with prepping for the interview is thinking about what questions you have. It's always good to write some down going in. You know, questions can be as simple as, what's the day-to-day like? You know, what am I going to be doing every day? Other questions, you know, just really be thinking about what you need to know if you're going to take this job. Like, what questions do you have? Am I going to be able to work from home? How long do you see me working there? Where do you see this position going? If you're totally drawing a blank, how long have you worked there? Questions about the interviewer. It's just all about showing engagement and interest. If you kind of prepare with these 4 things, then you got this, Haley. Thank you, guys. I'm just totally going for it. But just really thinking about, you know, why do I want this job? What the heck is this job? And what questions do I have about it? One other thing I always love to go over with my candidates, we call it the STAR method. Now, Cayman and I usually work with all IT candidates. So when we talk about STAR method, we're like, really trying to figure out, we're really trying to coach them on how to speak about their super technical skills. But what I love about this method is that it can apply to anybody. And it's a good, easy thing to remember when you're going into an interview, because when somebody is asking you a question, they don't just want to hear yes or no. It's not about checking the box. It's not about being like, oh yeah, I did that once. Okay, great. They want to understand, what was the situation? What was going on that you needed to use the skill, or what was the task that you needed to accomplish here? So it's about kind of setting that stage, your action that you took, and then what was the result. So anytime somebody's asking you a question, and if Cayman was on here, I would ask ask him a question and make him answer in STAR method for me. But if somebody's like, hey, have you ever used Excel before? The answer isn't just like yes. It's yes, I have. We had this situation or task in my last company or in one of my classes that, we had to figure this out. This is what I personally did. This is what I did on there. And then this is the result. Either it worked or it didn't. And what did I learn from that? All right. I see the chat going kind of crazy. Karen, I don't know. Is there anything on our end that I need to do, or are we just, I think we're just hanging in there waiting for Cayman?
Hey, Haley, can you hear me now?
I can. Are you back?
All right, fantastic. Yeah, so I have audio connection again, but no visual, and I think it may be a bandwidth issue.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in here, which is great, but it's a lot of pressure on me now. All right, how about I'm going to turn off my camera and see if that helps. Cayman, do you want to turn off your camera and see if we can just use audio in the presentation? Maybe that'll help a little bit.
Yeah, I can do the same. And fantastic job carrying the team here, Haley.
Slides are not advancing. Okay, yeah, if we could take a second and share the slides maybe, and of course we can always send them out after this if it's helpful. And then Cayman, I know that I've sent you the slides as well. If you want to pull that up, we're just going to actually go into kind of step-by-step interviewing tips right now.
Sounds great.
All right. So, sorry guys, we're just going to take a second to catch up here. All right, so Cayman, if you're able to pull that up so you can kind of help go through this. But one of the things, that's really common right now is all these different types of interviews. There's in-person interviews, phone, video. How do you prepare for each one? What's the same? What's different about them? First, just kind of looking at the classic in-person interview. And all that I can stress on this is that first impression is everything. Companies, what we've learned by, working with hundreds and hundreds of candidates and doing repetitive interviews and first, second, third ones, it's that first 10 to 30 seconds where, the client is really getting that first impression of you, where they're really kind of figuring out, as soon as you walk in, do they look professional? Are they vibing? Like, what's their personality? Do we think that they would fit in here? So thinking about, some of the things that go into that. It's not just about answering every question perfectly. It's about fitting into that company and really expressing to them, what makes you a good fit for them. First thing, be on time. 10 minutes early is always best. All right, I know you guys can't see stuff. Can you hear me? Okay. So if I know that we're having issues, I'm just kind of going to talk through this, jump in and ask questions. We will do a big question and answer session at the end because I know that we're having some difficulties. So thanks for hanging with us. We're going to try to end on time and everything here too. But, oh, okay. Oh, how about that? Let's just try this. Thank you, Karen. So in-person interviews, first impressions, everything. Being early is always best. 10 minutes early. You do not want to be 30 minutes early. That can make everybody uncomfortable, gives you more time to get nervous, to have to go to the bathroom. They're waiting, they're running around. 10 minutes is perfect. If you want to get there really early, hang out in your car, go over some notes on your phone, calm down, drink some water. But you want to make sure that you are there about 10 minutes early. Second thing, feel good. Feel good about yourself. Go to the bathroom first, have some water in the car, a little coffee, take a breath mint. You want to feel confident going in there. And a big part of that is your outfit as well. And we're not talking about outfit as in like being super stylish and, for girls, like big heels, your brand new dress, guys. It's really just about, being comfortable yet professional. You don't want to go in there feeling super awkward. If you have never worn a suit in your life, you don't have to wear a suit to a first interview generally. If it's a really high up position at some point, yes. But, pants or skirt, clean collared shirt or blouse, closed-toed shoes. I always just recommend for my candidates, keep it neutral, clean, professional, comfortable. Stay away from jeans, shorts, short skirts, low-cut tops, t-shirts. Really just, your personality and your knowledge should be speaking more than your outfit should. You don't want it to be distracting. It's really it at the end of the day.
And hey, everyone,
last thing, yeah, amen.
I was just going to chip in here and say that feel free to ask. 90% of the time, it will be a business casual will be the answer. But if you're working with a firm like ours, feel free to ask them. Ask the hiring manager directly what the dress code expectations are for an interview. It's not a off-the-wall thing to ask and confirm ahead of time.
Totally. And it is always best when you're setting up that interview, ask any questions you need to. At the end of the day, this company wants to talk to you because they're interested. It's not some sort of big trick or test. It's a little test, but asking questions is so important, and it's okay. It's encouraged. Managers, recruiters, they like and appreciate that because it shows, again, that you have interest, engagement, you care, you want to do a good job. So they're happy to help with that stuff. Little fake confidence can go a long way sometimes. Last thing with this, just setting the tone. Remember, this is a business meeting. Introduce yourself confidently, clearly, be articulate, smile. One of the other things, Cayman, I was hoping you could touch on this too, just shaking hands in a COVID world. You work with the clients more. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is very hit and miss with most people nowadays. Some people are very much so want to revert back to the ways of old and want to shake hands, and they want to have that physical interaction. And other folks are very uncomfortable with it. And frankly, I think the best thing to do is to always extend your hand still. And if somebody says, hey, I'm uncomfortable due to COVID, always embrace that and understand that and respect that. But I think there's nothing wrong with still being the one to lead, with extending your hand first.
I think that's a really good plan. All right. If we can go to the next slide. I just tried on my end and it didn't work. Perfect. All right. Video and phone interviews. I am going to go through a few of these, or actually it came in. Do you want to take this?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
You got this.
All right. The biggest issue that I see with candidates is they don't take the time before the interview just to test their equipment. It's kind of funny because I'm having equipment issues today, but you really want to make sure, if you're using Zoom or Microsoft Teams or WebEx or another platform, feel free to hop onto the call, 20, 30 minutes ahead of time, just to make sure that your camera's working and everything's functioning fine. And then you can just hop back off and then get back on, 5 minutes ahead of time before the call. But that'll save you a lot of the stress of right before the call as the hiring manager is trying to get on when you have issues. It doesn't look good, especially when you're interviewing for a IT position. Now, that being said, a lot of the same rules apply as an in-person to a virtual meeting as an in-person meeting. You want to make sure that you're still dressed well, and you want to be conscious of what's around you and behind you. You never want to hop on a call and you got a dirty, room or couch or something behind you. Make sure you don't have your leftover Taco Bell sitting on your desk. You really want to have a clean and clear front that you're presenting to the hiring manager. That being said, you really want to make sure that if you got dogs or cats, that you have them in another room. You have your cell phone turned off, and you have your coffee or water or whatever to keep your throat wet and able to talk well by your side, and you're ready to go. And lastly, and the most important thing going into a video interview is have a notepad beside you and have your questions that you're going to be asking that hiring manager written out ahead of time. That way you can focus on addressing their questions and have a clear mind going into that. And then you can also take down any additional notes or questions that you may have about the opportunity and about the company while you're in that interview. So Haley, that's not quite right off the slide, but that's what I said.
No, that was fantastic. I think that the notepad, like I said on their notes, is such a huge benefit of doing a phone or video interview because you can kind of keep your own reminders there. But that's something we miss as well. In-person interviews, bring a notepad. You're going to get a lot of information as you guys are talking. You're going to come up with questions that you can't ask at that second. Always bring a notepad. It's so helpful. Let's go to the next slide. We're going to try to wrap up these last two fairly quickly because I would love to get to some of your questions. So we're kind of just going to summarize all this, the do's and don'ts of interviewing. So I'll do these first couple, and then Cayman, if you want to wrap up the last three. So do smile, be excited. I know I see a lot of you guys asking about entry-level jobs. We're going to talk about that in a second with your questions, but when you're thinking about entry level, your first job, they're not going to be grilling you on your experience. Okay. There are entry level jobs. There are people that want to hire without necessarily having experience, but you have to sell them on your personality, your work ethic, and if you would fit well with that company. So smile, be excited. Do not act disinterested or bored. When you're answering questions, give details and examples versus just short yes or no answers. Always expand just a little bit to give them an example of what you've done there. Even if you haven't done it, giving, quick example of being like, hey, I don't know that yet, but I have had to learn something kind of similar. This is how I learned it. And this is why I think I could do it fast. And then be honest, but professional. Don't dodge questions. If you don't know the answer, it's okay. This isn't like a college or a high school test. It's a conversation. If you don't know something, be honest, but, keep it professional. Cayman, do you want to go through those last few?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I think the next one might be the most important out of all the bullet points, and that's listen well and ask questions. So specifically the second half of that is ask questions. And, as much as this interview is for them to see if you're a good fit, it's for you to see if they're a good fit for what you're looking for in a company and in a career. And so asking questions does two things. One, it addresses those concerns that you may have. But two, it also shows the hiring manager just how serious you are about the opportunity, as well as how intelligent you are by asking great critical thinking questions. The next point is be confident in who you are. At the end of the day, they want to hire you, not a false image that you might try to sell. So just be yourself always. And if it's not the right fit, don't necessarily take it personally, because I promise you there is a right fit for everybody out there. And a great question is to ask when you can follow up, as well as, it's important to set a timeline. Too often companies and organizations will not follow up with candidates, or they'll let an interview process drag on. And a lot of times the candidate will think, oh, it must be me. They must not be interested, or I didn't have a good interview, et cetera. And that's not the case at all. The company is just, or the individual who's making the decision is managing several different things in that moment that's outside of hiring for this position. And typically they let the process drag on unintentionally. And I think you, as the candidate setting a timeline, is a very responsible thing to do, and it'll actually show your stance and capability and confidence by doing so. All right, Haley, you want to jump? Or I can start on Jones. Yep.
No, that was perfect. Yeah, I think we've just got one more slide if we want to skip to that one there. Just briefly talking about wrapping things up, and then I do want to go into some of the questions. So if you have, I know we're not going to have a lot of time, but if you have a question you really want answered, please put it in that Q&A section, because we'll be skimming through that and trying to hit as many of that as we can. So this last part, just about wrapping up the interview, like Heyman was just saying, it's important to let them know you're interested when you leave, kind of ask about that timeline. And it is okay to follow up with them after a few days or a week if you haven't heard back. Like Heyman said, it is not always on you. These companies and managers have a lot of other things that they're doing, and some of them aren't used to interviewing a lot. So sometimes they let things go a little bit longer. So I always just like to say, when you're wrapping it up, ask any questions you need, clarify what the next steps looks like, and always thank them for their time. Thank them in person, send a quick email thank you. I know some people think that's cheesy. I can tell you, I manage 10 to 20 interviews a week sometimes, but when we're going through all these different steps and stuff, a quick thank you note goes a long way. Managers appreciate it, and it gets you back in their head as like, oh yeah, I need to get back to him. I really liked him. That was nice. Let me follow up with him now. So we're going to skip over to that Q&A section. We've only got about 5 minutes, so really going to try to hit these pretty quickly. The first thing I did see, okay, so yes, masks right now, always bring a mask with you. I recommend wearing it when you walk in the building. They will let you know if it's okay to take them off, especially once you get into like a conference room or an office. A lot of managers will have you take it off, but bring one just in case. You don't want to set a negative standard walking in. What college did you go to? It is totally up to you. There's no best college. One of the things that I saw somebody ask that I will say, for recruiters and managers looking at your resume, we are not necessarily looking at what college did you go to? What was your degree? You don't need to put like your GPA and stuff on there. It's not always about that, but yes, having a college degree of some sort, whether it's a bachelor's, associate's, a technical degree, certificates, getting that further education goes a long, long way. Having it on your resume, even with no job experience, will help you get that interview. It shows that you've been working hard, you've committed to something, you've wanted a further education, and it's a great thing to have on your resume that will help you get farther.
Hey, Haley, it looks like we have questions rolling in here, and I know we have just a few minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and rapid fire through just a couple of these.
Please do.
And so, Alexander, I see you have 2 back-to-back questions here, and Haley kind of addressed the college question. The one thing I want to share with all of you is that hiring managers constantly say, I want a go-getter. They don't care where you're from. They don't care what college you went to. They want somebody who's a go-getter. The number way you can do that for yourself now is go get a job, whether it's in IT or not. Go get a job and show that you're working and you're a motivated person. And then when you're in college, go get that internship. Most internships are paid nowadays, and they're great opportunities to learn. So that's one thing you can really do to help put yourself ahead and get that experience. Most entry-level positions, they may say they're looking for experience. What they're looking for is somebody who is a go-getter and went and took that internship. So when you're in college or you go to a IT school, both of them have career fairs, and they'll bring companies in. Always go to those career fairs, talk to the different organizations, learn about what opportunities are out there. All right, I'm going to hop onto another one here.
Absolutely.
Are jobs obligated? How many days you can't work? That's
No.
Heaven. That is completely up to you and the organization. Certain organizations take certain holidays off and others don't. For example, some of my clients had Veterans Day off and I was working. So it really just depends. For religious holidays, I'm pretty sure there's legislation in the United States that protects religious freedom and allows people to take days off. And most of the time, as long as you're a reasonable person, most other people in the marketplace, most managers are pretty reasonable. And if you add a lot of value to them, they want to keep you happy and they'll accommodate whatever needs you may have.
The one other thing, so I know we are at time, there's one more thing that a lot of you are asking just about entry-level jobs. I do want to just give a couple of quick points on that. Entry-level positions, getting people to take you seriously, getting in the door. That resume, get stuff on there. Get your extracurriculars on there. Get your volunteer experience, any major projects that you've worked on. Talk about your soft skills. It's not saying, I'm great at these 5 technologies. It's saying, hey, I'm super dependable. I'm analytical. I'm really good at math. Being an Eagle Scout, that's a great thing to have on there. Internships, mission trips. Think about all the other things that you've done in your life other than just a paid job that have built the skills and show who you are as a person. And that is what starts that conversation. And that's what companies look for when they're thinking about the entry level.
David, to answer your question.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, I'll just answer a quick couple of these real fast, Haley. You should be honest and upfront in the initial interview if you can't work certain days. And then I see Hayden asked about salary. Most interview processes are at least 2 interviews. I would not ask about salary in the first interview, but I would always discuss salary in the second interview. Quick point there. And then getting clothes for interview situations. People want go-getters, like I had said earlier, and they want people who make things happen. If you don't have the appropriate clothes, go make it happen. Go to a Goodwill and get some clothes. Ask a friend if you can borrow a shirt. There are people out there who care about you that will help you get what you need. Just make the effort and find a way to do it. All right. I think
guys, thank you all for joining this session. Yeah, sorry about the tech issues. I know we went a couple minutes over. I will say you guys have our names on that that second slide. Feel free to connect on LinkedIn. I know I am always happy to respond to messages, jump on a quick call with you if you want any other interview coaching or anything like that. So connect on LinkedIn if you'd like. We also have a one-sheeter we'll be sending out with some of this summarized. So thank you guys all so much for sticking with us and have a great rest of your time in these sessions.
Thanks, everybody.